Question, General Counsel, is there a quorum? Thank you very much. Good morning. I'm calling to order the March 2026 meeting of the IHCDA Board of Directors. We are meeting pursuant to this board's policy for participation by members of the IHCDA Board of Directors in board meetings by simultaneous electronic communication. This means that only 3 members must be physically present at the site of the meeting, and the remaining members may call in. There will be an audio feed for the general public so that members of the public can listen to the meeting, and there will be a link to the video recording posted on IHCDA's website next month. At the time motions are being made, each board member that makes a motion must state his or her first and last name for the record. Votes will then be tallied by roll call. I will now take a roll call of the board members to confirm members who are present and their location. So Mark Pasquarello, who's the designee for the State Public Finance Director, Jim McGough, I am present and in the room. Greg Pauls.
Present in the room.
Bobby Reddy.
Present in the room.
Chad Greiwe.
Present in the room.
Andy Place Sr.
Present remote.
Michael Schottmeyer and Tom McGowan, they do not look like they are present. Correct? All right. We will now move on to the start of the board meeting with section 1, which is the approval of the minutes. So, board, I hope you had time to read those. I will sit here and pause for any questions or comments from the meetings from the February 26, 2026 board meeting. Hearing and seeing none, may I have a motion to approve?
I'll be ready. Motion to approve.
Chad Greiwe, second.
First, we have a first and we have a second. We'll do a roll call. Greg Pauls.
Aye.
Bobby Reddy.
Aye.
Chad Greiwe.
Aye.
Andy Place Sr.
Aye.
I vote yes. Motion passes unanimously. Section 2, under real estate, we will welcome Emily Castro, who will present the recommendations for non-competitive bond volume 4% tax credits. Thank you and welcome, Emily.
Thank you. Good morning, board. I'm presenting one memo today with a funding recommendation in the 2026 AB non-competitive bond round. The second window of the bond round opened for applications on November 1st of 2025 and closed on December 31st. The 3 developments I'm presenting today are from the second window. They are all requesting 4% low-income housing tax credits and multifamily tax-exempt bond volume, and 2 are also requesting development fund loans. All applicants have undergone our threshold and scoring review process. They were determined to have met 2026-2027 QAP criteria, including Schedule D, and have achieved the minimum required score. The first development is Courts of Colfax, which is the rehabilitation of 78 units of age-restricted housing in Warsaw. This applicant is requesting $571,332 in annual LIHTC, $4,420,000 in bond volume, and a $500,000 development fund loan. The second development is Freight in Maine, the new construction of 210 units of family housing in Elkhart. This applicant is requesting $2,582,137 in annual LIHTC and $17,233,909 in bond volume. The third development is PK Housing Indiana Portfolio. This is a scattered site rehabilitation with 10 locations across 8 cities. Each site has between 18 and 96 units for a total of 454 units. PK Housing Indiana Portfolio is requesting $2,415,862 in annual LIHTC, $18,104,000 in bond volume, and a $500,000 development fund loan. Each of these developments is described in greater detail in the development summary sheets attached to the memo for this recommendation. Staff recommends the allocation of an aggregate award of 4% LIHTC in the amount of $5,569,331, an aggregate allocation of bond volume in the amount of $39,757,909, and an aggregate award of development fund in the amount of $1 million to these 3 developments. And I will now take any questions you might have.
We got one on the PK housing, and this is more for my own edification here, but those cities are kind of spread out, like almost from top of Northeast Indiana coming down through Whitley County, maybe, or maybe beyond
Mhm.
that. Is
Yes.
that common to spread a project or spread funding on a project through that?
Um,
Like through that many counties on one?
yeah, so PK housing is certainly a unique project in that way. We do see scattered site developments all the time, but to see it kind of spread out, among so many cities and counties is unusual. They were all originally financed with USDA funding, and so the developer kind of came in and bundled those properties together, and so that's kind of why they're all kind of spread out in one area.
Board, any additional questions for Emily? Hearing and seeing none, we are ready for your resolution.
Staff respectfully requests that the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve the following: an aggregate award of 4% LIHTC in the amount of $5,569,331, an aggregate allocation of bond volume in the amount of $39,757,909, and an aggregate award of development fund in the form of a loan in the amount of $1 million to the 3 developments listed in Table A, as more particularly identified in the development summary sheets as recommended by staff.
Board, we have a resolution before us. I will entertain a motion.
Andy
Greg
place.
Pulse. Go ahead, Andy.
We got Andy places the first. Can I get a second?
Greg Pulse second.
Thank you. We'll do a roll call. Greg Pauls,
Aye.
Bobby Reddy,
Aye.
Chad Greiwe,
Aye.
Andy Place Senior.
Aye.
I vote aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Please welcome Alan Rakowski, who will present the Central at Old South Side bond recommendation. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, Board. Alan Rakowski, Director of Real Estate Allocation. First of 3 final bond resolutions. The purpose of this memo and the attached resolution is to request the approval for the issuance of Series 2026 multifamily housing revenue bonds for Central Old South Side in a principal amount not to exceed $33,500,000. This project was originally approved by the board for an allocation of tax credits and bond volume in September of 2025. The bonds will be issued on behalf of Central Old Side LP. The authority will serve as a conduit issuer for the bonds, thereby loaning the proceeds to the borrower to finance a new construction of its multifamily housing complex. As is the case on this project and the next 2 I'll be presenting, the bonds are backed solely by the revenues derived from the development and will not constitute a debt, liability, or obligation of the authority or the state of Indiana. The borrower is proposing new construction of 227 units of family housing in Indianapolis, with the authority serving as the issuer of the bonds. An additional approval by the board, in addition to the approval of the allocation of tax credits and bond volume, is necessary. So the recommendation is the board to approve the issuance of Series 2026 multifamily housing revenue bonds for Central Old South Side pursuant to the resolution, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Alan? Okay, Alan, we're ready for your resolution.
Staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve the Series 2026 multifamily housing revenue bonds for Central Old South Side pursuant to the resolution attached hereto as Exhibit A as recommended by staff.
Board, we have a resolution before us. I will entertain a motion.
Bobby Reddy, motion to approve.
We have a first. Can I get a second?
Chad Greiwe second.
We have a first and we have a second. We'll go to roll call. Greg Pauls,
Aye.
Bobby Reddy,
Aye.
Chad Greiwe,
Aye.
Andy Place Senior.
Aye.
I vote aye. Motion passes unanimously. And Alan, I believe you are going to stay up here and present the Garfield Place bond recommendation.
Request to approve the issuance of Series 2026 multifamily housing revenue note for Garfield Place in the principal amount not to exceed $13,382,983. This project was originally approved by the board for the allocation of tax credits and bond volume in November of 2025. Borrower is proposing historic rehab of 152 units of age-restricted housing in Terre Haute, with the authority serving as issuer of the note. The additional approval by the board, in addition to the approval of the allocation of tax credits and bond volume, is necessary. So the recommendation is to approve the issuance of Series 2026 multifamily housing revenue note for Garfield Place pursuant to the attached resolution. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Alan? Okay. Board, we have a resolution for us. Entertain a motion.
Greg Paul, so moved.
Have a first. Can I get a second?
Andy plays second.
Have a first and a second. Roll call. Greg Pauls.
Aye.
Bobby Reddy.
Aye.
Chad Greiwe.
Aye.
Andy Place Senior.
Aye.
Mark Pasquarello votes aye. Motion passes unanimously. Now we'll go to the last one with Alan presenting, and we'll present the Grove at Pleasant Run bond recommendation.
Yes, so the third one is to request the approval for the issuance of Series 2026 multifamily housing revenue bonds for the Grove at Pleasant Run. The principal amount not to exceed $21,100,000. This project was originally approved by the board for the allocation of tax credits and bonds in September of 2025. On this one, the borrower is proposing a new construction of 160 units of multifamily housing in Indianapolis, with the authority serving as issuer of the bonds. An additional approval by the board, in addition to the approval of tax credits and bond volume, is necessary. So the recommendation is to approve the issuance of Series 2026 multifamily housing revenue bonds. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Happy to take your resolution.
Okay. Staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve the Series 2026 multifamily housing revenue bonds for the Grove at Pleasant Run pursuant to the resolution attached hereto as Exhibit A as recommended by staff.
Board, we have a resolution before us. I'll take a motion.
I'll be ready. Motion. Oh,
Go
Are you
ahead,
ready?
Bobby.
thank you. Sorry about that. I'll be ready. Motion to approve.
Andy
Have a
plays
first.
second.
Perfect. We have a first and a second. Roll call. Greg Pauls.
Aye.
Bobby Reddy.
Aye.
Chad Greiwe.
Aye.
Andy Place Senior.
Aye.
I vote yes. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Please welcome Andrea Lynch, who will now present the Home Buyer Award recommendations, La Casa of Goshen Incorporated and Habitat Development Corporation, LLC. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, board. My name is Andrea Lynch, the director of Home and HDF programs. Today I'll be recommending two homebuyer projects for funding. IHCDA's homebuyer funding is available in amounts up to $5,000 per application to nonprofits and local units of government, with applications being accepted on a rolling basis. As a little reminder, on January 23rd, IHCDA received an application from La Casa of Goshen for the new construction of 2 3-bedroom single-family homes in Elkhart and Goshen. They additionally requested IHCDA recertify their organization as a community housing development organization, so they're eligible to request total operating supplement. On February 24th, IHCDA received an application from Habitat Development Corporation, LLC, for the new construction of 3 3-bedroom single-family homes in Sheridan and Greenfield, Indiana. Both of the applications met threshold requirements and scored above the minimum points required to be considered eligible to receive funding. The application for total certification likewise met the requirements outlined in the total application workbook. Therefore, staff is recommending the approval of homebuyer awards in an aggregate amount not to exceed $757,928 to the 2 developments listed in Table A, and a home total operating supplement award not to exceed $50,000 to La Casa of Goshen, Inc. Take any questions you have.
Any questions? Okay, I believe we're ready for the resolutions. We're going to take there's going to be 2 resolutions. Is
Yes.
that correct? Okay. We'll start with the first one.
Okay. Staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolutions. Resolve that the board approve homebuyer awards in an aggregate amount not to exceed $757,928 to the 2 developments listed in Table A as recommended by staff.
We have a resolution in front of us. I'll take a motion.
Chad Greiwe, motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Can I get a second?
Greg Paul, second.
We have a first and a second. We'll go Greg Pauls.
Aye.
Bobby Reddy.
Aye.
Chad Greiwe.
Aye.
Andy Place Senior.
Aye.
I vote yes. First motion passes unanimously. Ready for your second one?
Thank you. Staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve a home total operating supplement award of grant not to exceed $50,000 to La Casa of Goshen Incorporated as recommended by staff.
We have a resolution before us. I'll entertain a motion.
Chad Greiwe, motion to approve.
Andy plays second.
Zach, we are ready for the first resolution.
Okay.
Staff respectfully requests that the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve an aggregate award of home tenant-based rental assistance funding in the amount of $899,949.44 to the three organizations set forth in Table A as recommended by staff.
Board, we have a resolution in front of us. I will entertain a motion.
Greg Paul so moved.
Can I get a second?
I'll be ready second.
Roll call. Greg Pauls.
Aye.
I'll be ready.
Aye.
Chad Greiwe.
Aye.
Andy Place Senior.
Aye.
I vote yes. Motion passes unanimously. We're ready for your second resolution.
Staff respectfully requests that the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve an aggregate award of Home American Rescue Plan Supportive Services funding in the amount of $300,000 to the three organizations set forth in Table B as recommended by staff.
Board, we have a resolution in front of us. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll be ready. Motion approved.
Can I get a second?
Chad Greiwe second.
We have a first and second. Roll call. Greg Pauls.
Aye.
I'll be ready.
Aye.
Chad Greiwe.
Aye.
Andy Place Senior.
Aye.
Mark Vascarello votes aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Zach.
Thank you.
Then this brings us to Section 3, which is an IHCDA update. So I'll welcome Executive Director Tom Pearson, who will provide that update.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you, Board. The Weatherization team held a public hearing this past Monday on the 2026 Weatherization State Plan to present and update the plan to the Weatherization subrecipients and garner feedback and comments. The team has been working on the state plan since last summer. The team will be submitting the final version of the state plan to the Department of Energy on April 2nd of this year. If approved, 2026 funding will be released on July 1st, 2026, and the new program year will begin. I'd like to give special thanks to the Weatherization team, including, if you guys don't mind standing, Mark Dowd, JJ Adriani, Josh Pearson, Jameson Washington, Kenny McIntyre, and Santomi Nadu. I'd also like to recognize Samantha Spurgel for her leadership in leading this. So thank you all. The second thing, the IHCDA had its first quarterly all-staff meeting this past week. It was exciting, a lot of good energy out of that. But the biggest highlight of that was the 2025 Employee of the Year for IHCDA. We had a lot of great nominations, a lot of great input for that. Really special, humbling comments from everybody who nominated somebody. But it's my pleasure to share with the board that Elois Townsend, one of our front desk coordinators, who I'm sure probably all of you run into once in a while, was named the Employee of the Year. So Elois, I hope you're here. If you don't mind standing, Elois has been with IHCDA since 2018. It's done an excellent job. So. And with that, thank you.
Perfect. Any questions for Tom?
Stephen, please. Yes, please. Stephen Enns is going to give a quick disaster update for the board.
Okay.
I have such a long presentation for you. Good morning, board. Thank you for allowing me to share. I'm happy to give you an update as to a little bit of our activity recently. Not so happy to remind you of the events which brought on that activity, namely two disasters that we have experienced as a state just recently. On March 6th, there was a fire that engulfed a 50-unit apartment complex in Danville. This damaged every unit and displaced all 50 households. And so we have been working with the Red Cross to house 16 of the individuals who otherwise didn't have a place to stay. Normally, we are called upon to respond to governor declared emergencies. This is a special circumstance in that all 50 units were under a HUD rental assistance contract, which we administer. And so it's very appropriate then that we respond to our twin goals of providing affordability and stability in housing for those 16 individuals. On March 10, There were tornadoes that came through the town of Lake Village and nearby areas of Newton and Jasper counties. And so we have been working with the Red Cross and the Department of Homeland Security to house. Let me see. We have seven households housed just right now. That includes 21 individuals, 3 dogs, and 3 cats. In any case, there were 41 homes that were damaged or totally destroyed by those storms. I just want to remind you also that in the in the recent past, we have helped with flooding in Jasper. That was in 2024. In 2023, we responded to a building collapse in Hartford City, and also in 2023, we responded to the tornadoes that came through Sullivan and Whiteland and the areas in between. And so this is thanks to IHCDA and to this board for establishing a contingency fund, which would provide for this disaster housing. Over the years, we've been able to manage our response through the investment income on that original investment. And so we have not dipped into the principal balance of that fund. We thank the board for the delegated authority, which allows us to respond in a very nimble fashion. As soon as we got the call from the Red Cross, we were able to put our activity in motion. So with that, I'd like to commend the Red Cross, the Department of Homeland Security, and thank the cooperating hotels, as well as our team here for our efforts, their efforts in terms of this response. We are honored to provide this emergency housing to work especially to work directly with those who are affected. We hear their stories, we hear their thanks, and this is very much like what other programs within the agency are involved in. It's just that we have very direct contact with the households and with the individuals who are affected. So it makes for actually a very kind of touching time in moments like these. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I'll just piggyback there real quick. I mean, I appreciate that report to the board. I think that's very important because a lot of what we do and what staff does is putting together, working with the federal government and going through the procedures on how to hand out the money to make sure it's being used efficiently, which is obviously the core business of what IHCDA does. But also hearing that we have put money aside and that we have staff doing ad hoc help in the community is kind of, in my opinion, that's critical thinking, number one, and fulfilling the true mission. It's, you hear all the time, unfortunately, some governmental agencies just, they check their boxes and they move on. But here at IHCDA, I see the different type of attitude. And I think that exemplifies it. To go out in the community and help them in a time of need, I think is exactly what housing needs to do. So I appreciate that update. And kudos to staff who's been executing that. Any other comments from the board? Okay, new business. Any new business? If not, then I will adjourn, and we are at 10:28. Thank you very much.